Welcome to the Museum of Woman show, where we interview real women about what's really happening with women in today's world. Today on the show, we have two wonderful guests, Janet Nunes and Kim Espy. We've all heard what's happened to J.K. Rowling and many others. Our guests today have unique stories to share about what's happening, something that you may not have heard much about. And the point is not about their particular industry, but just to let you as a woman see what's happening to other women, a real world scenario on a daily basis, what's really happening. And this was sparked by a conversation that we spontaneously entered into online. I really wanted to find out more about this, about what they were talking about men encroaching traditionally an area for women only. Janet, Kim, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Janet, let's begin with you. Tell us what your line of work is.
Currently, I work for a company called Headcount, and we have clean makeup and skincare lines at Sephora, Ulta, and Nordstrom's. And my job is to educate the beauty advisors at all those stores, as well as sell the products when I'm there.
And you have a long history of many years in the beauty industry and the cosmetics industry.
Yes, so I've been an esthetician since 1990. I worked in a day spa for 20 years, working at Ulta for several years, ended up at Bobbi Brown at Nordstrom's. During the pandemic, I worked at Bloomingdale's and I was the counter manager for Bobbi Brown there.
Kim, tell us what your line of work is.
So I am actually not in the makeup industry. I have another job, another career. I am obsessed with beauty. I am obsessed with makeup, study it. I would love to have a part-time job doing something like this, doing something I'm passionate about. Through that journey, attempting to get into the industry, I ran into some pretty disturbing trends.
You see a lot of what's happening that we're going to talk about. Yeah.
Well, not just as someone who attempted to get into the industry, but also as someone who goes to Sephora and the Nordstrom makeup counter a little bit too often. Just a little bit.
I can completely relate. I love makeup myself. I have a lot of radical feminist women friends, some of whom think that no, women shouldn't really wear makeup. But I view it as art. When my face is freshly washed, it's my canvas for the day, colors I put on it. And when you study matriarchal cultures that have been in existence long before patriarchy arose, you see that both men and women are very colorful in their personas, in the way they dress. Men and women can wear makeup, can decorate themselves, can wear amazing jewelry and earrings. And I think that makeup in our world today has put a lot of pressure on women to look a certain way. I know that when I was in the corporate world working every day, if I had refused to wear at least a little bit of lipstick, I would have been considered unprofessional. You're not polished if you aren't wearing makeup. And I don't agree with that. Nobody should be forced to wear makeup. Wear it if you love it. But it is art. For me, it is art. And that's what I love about it. And as long as you're not wearing it as a mask to hide behind, as long as you're willing to show your bare face, occasionally at least.
Right. I do things for me. It's not to try to be appealing to the opposite sex. I see it as painting. I see it as art. It's my Zen time for the day. It's my time to say, I'm a human being and this is what I love to do.
Janet, we were talking about males encroaching into this area of beauty aesthetics, of cosmetics. Just give us an overview of what you think has changed in the last, say, 3 years, 5 years? What do you think has changed?
I would say the last 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
for years I've worked with gay males, which that's great. I, have a lot of gay male friends, but they dress like men. Sometimes they'd wear a little bit of makeup, but they still look like men. Now, and especially at Nordstrom's, they wear women's clothes. They're over the top.
When
Like,
you say they wear women's clothes, can you give us a couple of examples of what that might look like?
high heel, black, shiny boots, almost like a bustier, black bustier, flowing lace, over the top makeup. It's the woke culture at Nordstrom's. So they think it's cool. Like, oh, see, look what we did. We hired this guy who's pretending he's a female, or except I feel like a lot of them really hate women. Where my gay male counterparts love women and want to help them and are really great as coworkers, these particular people, the ones that are really dressing like drag queens at work, spew their hatred. I mean, you could tell.
Yeah, how can you tell? What tips you off to their hatred of woman?
Just really short, curt answers, and you don't know, and like they know better.
What's the average age group of these males?
Late 20s, early 30s.
Do you think they're copying Sam Smith, that famous performer with all his weird female outfits, over the top outfits?
Yeah, it's possible.
Uh-huh. Where do you think these men came from? Where were they before, and why are they suddenly showing up now?
A lot of them still were in the cosmetic industry, I think, but they're just coming out more, or they've transferred from other department stores, from other, like, let's say they worked in men's clothes or children's clothes or whatever, and they decided that this is what they want to do so they can express themselves and all of that. And that would all be fine and well, as if they were still respectful of women. And as soon as a customer would walk away, like say something snarky. And I feel like even like with coworkers, I see that nastiness. And I'm not sure where that came from. To really bizarre, but I know other traveling makeup artists that come in will tell me now, like, oh, I don't want to go to Nordstrom's anymore. The woke culture.
Kim, I go rarely to a Nordstrom's or a Macy's or a Bloomingdale's to buy makeup. It's not that frequent. When I do go, I have seen this, what Janet is talking about. I've seen it for myself. The first thing that occurs to me is, what could this 23-year-old male in high-heeled boots and a bustier, what could they possibly know about my 68-year-old skin, my face, my makeup? I feel like, what can they possibly know? It feels like it. Now, this could be just my own sexism. I'm willing to own it. It changes the vibe of the makeup counter. When I used to go to the makeup counter, it'd be all women, and we'd kind of all be there together, helping each other and learning. And now the vibe seems really different. Can you tell us what you're noticing and what you're experiencing?
I'm noticing exactly that. Part of why I wanted to get into the makeup industry is because I'm a 42-year-old woman. I am in a demographic that we still, we care about our appearance. We want high-end makeup that looks good on our skin, because we have pores. You go in and there's these 20 to 30-year-old men that are, to me, it's almost insulting.
Why does it feel insulting to you?
Number one, it's like they're playing a cartoon character of a woman.
Yeah, bingo. She got it right there.
Yes, right.
It's the super long nails that they're clicking in your face. It is a cartoon character mockery of a woman. And it's not that I have a problem with what anyone chooses to do with their life. It's the mockery. I go into Nordstrom's or I go into Sephora, and it's full of men that are playing cartoon character women. And
do you feel this is woman face? Like we compare black face to woman face? Do you feel that's what it is with these men?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I feel it is to a point where it's aggressive. It doesn't feel, I used to makeup and beauty. It used to be like if I had a really stressful day at work or, with my children, what have you, it was, I'm going to go see what's new at Nordstrom.
Right. Buy a new lipstick.
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy.
Right.
And it's just those little things, being a woman working and a mother, it's like, I'm just, sometimes a lip gloss can fix a lot of things.
Right. Yeah.
And
It's just a relief to do something beautiful for yourself. Yeah.
Yes. And so I go in there now and it's aggressive cartoon character of a woman coming at me. They don't really want to help me. They're just kind of there in my space. I can tell they do not like me. Like there's just no other way to put it. I can feel their energy. I feel it's aggressive. It doesn't feel good.
You're saying the same thing as Janet, that and
100%. 100%.
It feels like they don't like women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, I hear their comments. I know they don't. And she hit the nail on the head. Cartoon character of a woman. And in fact, Sephora is guilty of this. Gay Pride Month, that's fine. I'm all for that. They have a big screen and they picked different male managers from different stores that were higher up, like the main manager or whatever their job titles were. And they all did the same character impersonation of women, dressed way over the top makeup, wigs, and then character assassination of women acting really sexy. And they filmed that and they had it on their board, this TV board, all month long. They didn't show any females that were gay that had makeup on. It was all men dressed up. And it would say, this is Paul from such and such store. This is Robbie from this store or whatever. And they're all dancing and trying to be all sexy and all this like crazy makeup. And I just thought, to me, it was like a mockery of women.
Every male who has taken a job in a Sephora or an Ulta or wherever is taking a position away from some woman who might actually know what it's like to be a woman and deal with these things. Is that right?
It's also vendors too. They're hiring them as vendors as well. Like what I do, they're also out there.
What has happened that this has changed so radically in such a short period of time?
Because all these companies are trying to keep up with the woke culture and, oh, we're with it. This is another disturbing thing though that I see, like especially at Sephora's. And I've noticed a lot at Irvine, especially Spectrum. 13 and 14-year-old girls come in with their 13, 14-year-old boyfriends and they're both wearing makeup and eyelashes and nails.
Eyelashes too?
Yeah. And putting it on each other. And so I'm even going, okay, what just happened?
Like what do you think about that? A couple, a male and a female, young, going in and trying on makeup together. It seems odd to me, but I'm 68 years old. I may not be as with it as somebody much younger. What do you think of that?
I think I'm glad I didn't get a job there.
You say, Janet, that these companies want to be super woke. So at what level is this being instigated? Is it at the very highest corporate level, or is it at the managerial level? What level is that?
It's at the very top. They agreed to all of this. Yeah, no, it's at the very top. Mm-hmm. For sure. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I can say is some of my gay counterparts who still dress like men, women will come up to them more than going to another woman because, and I've asked them why, and they say, well, he's a man and he knows what men like.
Oh, interesting.
How they want to see a woman. I'm like, well, not necessarily, but okay.
Gay men, they don't.
Yeah, I know, exactly. That's why I say, okay, well, not necessarily, but okay, if that's what you think, go right ahead.
What do you think we women who would like to have some input as to what's happening in our world, in our erasure, in men encroaching, with this particular angle of going into a store to buy cosmetics, and you're confronted with this. What can women do? What would you advise women to do to start maybe turning the tide somehow? What can we do?
The only solution I can think of in what I do is I do not engage.
Do you actually actively look for a female to help you?
Right. I absolutely do. And I don't know that this is the answer for everyone, but for me, when I do have the aggressive men dressing as women coming up and talking to me, I just do not engage. If I feel like I am being mocked, it is okay that I put up boundaries and say, I will not engage.
Mm-hmm.
This is not okay with me. I came here for an experience and you're not giving it to me.
Janet, what do you think women can do?
Ask for another woman. Don't make a scene, just like find someone else. When you pay that day, you get a receipt and they ask you to give a survey online. And I would say to answer on those surveys, whether it's Nordstrom's, Ulta, Sephora, they all three do it. I was approached by a really aggressive whatever, or even if you see the person's name, because they'll have a name and it'll say, their pronouns on there, their name and their pronouns, and put that on there. This person approached me and was really aggressive, and I felt like negative, not good service. Comment about that you don't feel comfortable with, not so much that they're dressing like that, but how they treat you. It's bad service.
I love the idea of the surveys. You can set boundaries. It's not like I'm coming at them and being like, oh, no, you don't get to talk to me. Everybody is worth basic dignity, honor, and respect.
Yes.
And you can say, I don't want to participate in this at the same time. And that is always my goal, is to treat people with dignity and also treat myself with dignity.
And you can be civil in saying no and holding a boundary. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
you can say, no, thank you, if they approach you that way. Oh, no, thanks. I'm just looking, and then move on and ask someone else. You don't have to make a scene.
Janet, let me ask you, you may not know for certain, but you have good intuition and you have a good guess. Most of these males who are working in this capacity, do they see themselves as trans women? Do they see themselves as just cross-dressers? How would they describe themselves? Do they think they're women?
There's some that are just definitely gay and are more like drag queens, and they actually do drag shows later.
Okay.
There are a few that are transgender, and I have met them. Yes.
Okay. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag. You just never know what you're going to get anymore.
What do you see unfolding in the future for women? Not necessarily just in this area, but just where we are overall with what's happening with women in sports, men going to women's prisons. What do you think is going to happen in the next, say, couple of years?
In the next couple of years, I think it's just going to be a continuation of the same, continuing to demote us. I feel we are already second-class citizens in many ways.
No doubt.
In this country, see us as secondary, that we are basically here for their benefit and entertainment. I think the men in this country are mostly emotionally gay. They don't like women. And with this trajectory where we have straight men that don't actually like women, and then we have other men who viscerally hate us because we are women, we're going to have a moment with women where we say, we're in trouble here. And we have to get back our standing. And our standing wasn't even that great to begin with, but we have at least got to get there and then build ourselves up from there. Because we are the creators of the world. We matter. We are important. We should be honored. The dignity, honor, and respect that I think everyone is entitled to, we are entitled to as well.
There would be nothing human without women.
2 years from now, it will be more of the same hostile aggression towards us. What this looks like 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, it is terrifying.
I agree. It's heading way in the wrong direction, especially since Newsom passed that law that men, if they say that they feel like they're a woman, can go into a women's prison. That's a real problem, that they all think that's okay. We're going in the wrong directions. All this women's lib, I feel like, has gotten us nowhere. We're going backwards very quickly.
50 years of being a feminist and working towards feminism and women's liberation. And here's where we are. It's shocking. It's shocking.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to go back to like being an Amazonian woman, and have an Amazon tribe, and we all work together because we cannot count on them.
Being attractive it's synonymous with being hunted. In my head.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what the bigger problem is that when we have these young women that they're not just saying, I'm not caring about beauty because I don't want to appeal to men. They just don't care at all. And that's indicative.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think?
Yes, that is absolutely what I think. And I think it's indicative of mental health. I think it's indicative of the younger generation. They aren't really attracted to each other, that getting together, getting married, mating, all the human cycle, it seems to be purposely socially engineered and stifled.
I agree with you 100%. 100%.
It's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at dating statistics, it's dropped off a cliff. Young men and young women are not really dating the way my generation dated.
This is something that I've learned from some of the younger people I talk to, that I work with. The online thing has changed that dramatically. Before, you had to meet in person and actually spend some time and money, go out on a date. Now they just plop on these dating apps or go on these sites.
There is no Shakti online on a screen. You have to experience a woman in person and feel the form of Shakti that she is sharing to determine if that woman is for you, or even that you're interested. And you can't do that on a screen. How can you?
You can't do it on a screen. And it's also, I think, really contributing to the male depravity that we're seeing.
Yes.
Men already see us as objects for consumption. Now put us on a screen and be swiping.
Right.
So before, men used to go to porn sites. Now all they have to do is go on TikTok or Instagram, and just about everyone I know freaking taking their clothes off, dancing, shaking their boobs, shaking their butt. Someone I know that literally, she's almost 50 and she is attractive, but her boyfriend and her fiance or whatever broke up. And all of a sudden she started wearing all these sexy clothes. And every day I see a video of her shaking everything and practically showing her underwear. And it's like, why are you doing that? You're a mother of 3 and a grandmother, for crying out loud.
No dignity. That's
no dignity. So
I mourn the loss of dignity of many women. I don't know about all women, but many women, it seems there's some kind of lack of dignity.
Why do men have to go anywhere? They don't. They just look at the screen. They get off on the visuals because they are visual. Like Kim said, swiping. Let's go on Instagram. Let's go on TikTok. And everyone else showing dances in their bikinis.
The pendulum always swings back. Whatever bullshit is going on right now, the pendulum is men are eventually going to get tired of it. Men are eventually going to feel what they're missing. They're going to go through a real period of intense rage, and it's going to be directed to us. That's really frightening, but eventually the pendulum will change.
And no matter what happens, no matter who I deal with, and I try to be kind and of service no matter who they are. I just try to do the best that I can. I have the best intention for everyone, and hopefully all this will work out.
One way or another.
I try to be positive about all of it.
Beyond the makeup, beyond the men and their mindsets towards us. We have to get back to a place where we are whole within ourselves and we have community, we have sisterhood, and we matter.
Yeah, we must keep focused on that. We must keep focused on that. We women have to, just what Kim said, we have to stand strong and regain our queenly powers and our dignity and our leadership of civilization. We must keep focused on that. This has been the Museum of Woman talking with Janet Nunes and Kim Espy. We will see you in the next video talking about what real women are experiencing in the real world. Blessed be.